Check 1, 2. Yeah, right. How's everybody doing? Thanks so much for coming along, guys. So we've got our next panel coming up. I think you guys know who this is. Yeah, take a guess. In Australia, for the very first time, the voice of Princess Celestia, Nicole Oliver!
Hey, do you guys know who Backstreet Boys are? Yeah! So I've been obsessing, like every convention I choose a song. It was like a couple of conventions ago I did Don't Stop Believing by Journey, but this is the one for today.
That's Nicole's song for Trot On tonight.
Oh, it could be. I'm feeling it.
Well, thank you so much for coming along out to Australia. How are you finding it so far?
Really awesome. Yeah, we started in Sydney. I didn't know where I was, didn't know what day it was. Randomly falling asleep at really awkward times. But I'm really good. It's just been beautiful. My highlight, we went to a farm in Sydney where they rescue koalas and kangaroos, little joeys that mom's been hit by a car. And I got to get up close and personal with Taka, Walroo, and Jax, my new boyfriend, sorry, husband Chris. But if anyone's, I'm on Instagram, I'm noliver77, and I've been posting all my pictures of your glorious country. So please follow along if you'd like, or on Twitter, @mouthnoise with a Z. There we go. Yeah, so lots happening. I'm really good. I'm really happy to see everyone. How are you all?
Excellent.
All right.
Awesome. So before we get going, I just wanted to give a bit of a giveaway first, because we actually have someone that actually won a prize from one of our giveaways, and I thought it might be nice if Nicole maybe presented it to them. Do we have Brendan here?
Where's Brendan? Where's Brendan? Brendan, come on up here.
Come on up here.
Like, do you guys know The Price is Right? It's an American. I'm gonna do my best. Hi, Brendan. Can you get up here? Don't you?
Give Brendan a round of applause, guys. Come on. So we had a giveaway where if you purchased a weekend pass, you entered into this giveaway. Now this is a very special like prize. We really want to make this special. So Brendan, what we'd like to present to you is a lovely image. I think it's actually it's drawn by Ashy Cakes, but it's actually signed by our goddess Lauren Faust.
Sorry, who?
Lauren Faust. You want to show it?
You ready? Everyone on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Una. 1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Right? This is how the ladies do it.
So this has been signed by Lauren. I know Lauren doesn't get along to many conventions as much as we like, but yeah, she did this for us, and we're going to give this to you, Brendan, so congratulations. You're welcome.
All right. What else can we give away? A new car!
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to start with a few questions, and then we might do some audience questions. Like we'll start with the very obvious, and you tell me every single question that you've already been asked this, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how did you get started in voice acting?
Never been asked that question before. I went to theater school. I was going to be a dancer. I blew up my knee. I was a ballet dancer. I started dancing when I was 3. And I thought it was going to be it. I blew up my knee when I was 12. And in high school, someone said you should try the school play. And I did, and all I remember is walking out on stage, saying my first line, and then it was miraculously the end of the play, and I was bowing. And I'm like, okay, I like this. So I told my parents, I'm not going to go be a lawyer, Mom and Dad. I'm going to go be an actor. Yeah. And luckily I had parents who really supported me following my dreams. My parents said fine, but I had to get an education. That's really important. So I went to university in Toronto and studied drama. And I work in film and television whenever they want this. But the thing I love about voice, I started doing it pretty early in my career. So I started almost 30 years ago, so I was 2. Do the math. No, I wasn't 2. Thanks for the laughter, though. I appreciate it. Someone said you have a nice voice. And I auditioned for stuff, and the thing I love about voiceover is all the same basics of you have to be able to act. Voice is the adjective to the noun actor. If you can't make other people feel things, you have to be able to feel things yourself. You have to elicit responses. It's like what all your favorite actors in film and TV, voice actors do the same thing. It's just our voice is what conveys all that emotion. And then the beautiful animators come along and draw all these things, often just 2D. And when you smush the pictures and the voice together, you get this wonderful story that you all enjoy and become a part of. So I became a voice actor, still am a voice actor, still am an actor. I'm directing some cartoons now. That's the latest thing for me. So that's really exciting. Thank you. But a thing I love the most about voice acting is it doesn't matter what you look like. So I can be the old grandmother if I want to be, and I don't look like a grandmother, right? Well, thank you very much. You can all still come to my house for supper. Or I can be, I can be the younger girl that's going to go visit her grandmother for the weekend. Or I can maybe be like make my kids sound like this, really dumb and stupid. Like, Mom, when you do my voice, why do you make me sound dumb? And I'm like, no, my kids are very smart. But it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be so many different things, and it's very freeing. And I think we can all agree, sometimes, unfortunately, we're too quick to judge a book by its cover. And so to have that freedom of space and creativity is a real gift. So that's that. That's how I
So how did that lead into My Little Pony? How did the auditioning process start?
Well, it was just like, hey, my agent. So you get an agent. You need somebody to talk how wonderful you are and why they should hire you, and you pay them a percentage of your money, and it's a business relationship. And I'm very fortunate. My agents are very dear friends of mine, and I've been with the same agents for my whole career, which is not normal. And they said, okay, well, there's this new show coming out, My Little Pony. I'm like, that's not new. I remember that show. And they said, no, it's different. It's be more empowering, more female-driven. And this was at a time in cartoons where there were lots of, I love men, don't get me wrong, I love boys, but lots of boy stuff, lots of explosions, lots of, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, and so this was going to be about a little more cerebral in its story, and the animation was going to be groundbreaking, and it was female-driven, not just for voices, but behind the scenes. And I think it's really important, that women support women. And they said, would you audition? And I said, sure. And so I got sent all the sides for Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, and Rarity, and Princess Celestia, and Applejack, and like all of them. And we prepared all of them. If you ask all the other actresses, we auditioned for all the parts because I think one's gotta work, right? So, and then I had callbacks for Rarity and Fluttershy and Princess Celestia, and I ended up booking Princess Celestia. And I would never have thought, over 10 years later, I'd be sitting in that lake with all of you. Thank God.
So what's it been like for you working on the show? You obviously...
I hate it. No.
You do it all in a group in Vancouver?
Yeah, unless we're on the road. I've recorded some stuff in other cities when I've been away, but the primary recording place is Vancouver, Canada. DHX is the animation house, and a lot of it was animated in Canada. Tara Strong came up for some of the first records, and she lives in Los Angeles. She's a busy mom with 2 boys and has a really busy career, so it made more sense for her just to drive 20 minutes to a studio than fly 3 hours to a studio. So, but But all the rest of us, for the most part, are recorded in Vancouver.
Perfect. And how did you find out, obviously My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has got fans across the globe in a huge community. How did you find out about the fandom? What was your kind of reaction when that hit?
I went to the very first BronyCon. So Purple Tinker connected with my agent, and she's, I don't know if people know her in the fandom. She was one of the first organizers of the very first BronyCon in New York City. And it was Andrea Libman, Kathy Westlock, myself, Ashley Ball, and Tabitha St. Germain. I think we all went down to New York. We're on the red eye, so like midnight, land JFK, 6 a.m. Going to New York, and we're picked up, and it was at the Hotel Pennsylvania, which is not too far from Penn Station. And they were thinking maybe there'd be 100 people. The lineup was out onto the street, and the hotel had no idea what to do. There was, I think, hundreds and hundreds of fans, of families and everything that had come out to support the show. And I'd say that's when we realized we weren't in Kansas anymore, to quote a film I love. That's when we were like, oh, because I've done on-camera stuff in the sci-fi world. I'm part of, Stargate and stuff. And one of my first TV shows I did was a show called Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. And we had fan conventions, and this is back in the mid-90s, and we did it with Star Trek. So I had a Klingon, like they have lovely Chris walking around, but I had a Klingon walking around with me at my first fan convention 25 years ago, and when I was 2, very awkward for him, but anyway, no. And so, that's a fandom, like Trekkies and stuff, super, so I've seen and been a part of it, but not where I feel the love as much as I did with all of you.
And what was your sort of reaction when you found out maybe we hadn't hit the target audience as much as the Bronies, per se?
I learned long ago that there's nothing that you can predict about being in the entertainment business, right? There's no guarantees, there's no nothing. It's like worse than gambling. So, really, everybody, you're gambling, but you're gambling with your future. But every artist always hopes to be a part of something that is impactful. And you never know where that will come from. And this was just a show that I think showed up at a time when people needed something else, when people were wanting to defy and challenge certain stereotypical norms that were out there. There's a great generation of kids coming up that it was okay if boys liked pink, and it's okay if girls like blue, and it's okay if you want to play sports, and it's okay if you want to draw. And so, so there's those restrictions weren't there, and the show came out with a message that there's a space and a place for everyone, and that with a friend by your side, you're that much stronger and more effective. And I really think that message is it's continued to grow and amplify because of the space we live in. But I think the more that we can, those of you embrace those sentiments, I have a lot of hope. I do.
I love it. I love it. So let's step back towards the show for a little bit. So let's do you as a character. I want to delve into that a little bit more. I want to focus more on the voice and how you came about that. Was that something that you had planned, or was it something...
I sound like that every day. Different, they want regal, and so it was interesting because as an actor, whatever character you get, even if you don't have the information, you have to make a backstory, right? So your character is more than just the words on a page. So you have to figure out who this person is, what do they want, what drives them, what freaks them out. Apparently I don't like chickens, that was new news to me, but I'll go with it. And so you need to flesh these characters out. And sometimes the writing can be very one-dimensional, right? And so always trying to push in little ways to show a sense of humor, to show other bits and pieces, and to do what you can to try and influence the writers, which never works, but I tried. So the voice was just a little Sigourney Weaver from Alien, a little bit of Audrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's, but dialed that back a bit because that was going a little too into rarity territory. And just trying to think if Queen Elizabeth wasn't so nasal. And so British, nothing wrong with that. But you know, that kind of poise and elegance, grace under fire, calmness, and that her voice would be a hug, like the voice of reason in time of turmoil. So that's kind of where it all came from, and then you just practice and figure it out, and when you get back in for callbacks, you start tweaking around, and eventually they're like, that's it. And then that becomes your voice reference, and they play that for you before every episode you record for 9 seasons.
And you mentioned the story, the backstory of the character as well. Do you follow the story of the show, or is it kind of once you've done the voice takes, that's it, we don't follow it?
Well, it's really interesting because we record this stuff 10 months to a year before, years sometimes before you guys see it, and I do other things than this show. And so I often, I'm amazed, like there's details y'all know that I'm like, really, tell me more. When we record it and we do it, and you know, there's social media is a big part of the fandom and the show, the success of the show. So we're tweeting and following along and try and watch the finished product because I think the animation is stunning. Really, they've done a beautiful job. So it's always neat. You do the record and then you watch it at the end. You're like, oh, okay, that's how it turned out. Because you know they might put little pauses some places where you didn't have them, or a line might get dropped because there's not enough time, because there's only 22 minutes in a show. So, but yeah, I do my best to follow along. I certainly follow along on Twitter and Instagram, on the World Wide Web, so why listen as much as I can. I went and saw the movie several times. Did you guys see the movie? Yeah. That was fun. We recorded that over 18 months. I was in the studio on and off for 18 months, because I did Celestia, but I also did Lick Spittle, the pirate, the pink pirate. It's going to be awesome, her. And then I did one of the people that was trying to sell the purple pony and the, I can buy that one, no, I want that one, give that one to me, I want her purple hair. Her. And then we had songs to sing too, so it was like 18 months of our life. So it's, you guys turn it on, and for 22 minutes you get it all. For us, it could be years putting it all together, so I try and do as much as I can.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, we know that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is going to be coming to an end very soon. Is there anything that you'd say to the fans to kind of make that easier? Because some are finding it a little difficult.
I know. Well, I think for a lot of people, I'd say look around you, look to your left, look to your right. I bet you those people weren't there when it started. So everyone has gained a whole lot more that's tangible than just a show. I think the show is a great message, and it's one that can live on through all of you as you conduct yourself out there in the world, right? Keep spreading the idea of friendship, being kind to other people, thinking how other people would see things, put yourself in other people's shoes. All the things I think the show's really great at sharing. You now, we all, can keep moving forward in our life and celebrating that. And there's YouTube and reruns, so we're not dead. And I don't know where else it's going to go. None of us know what's happening, or, you know, we've heard rumors of another generation of stuff, and maybe there's more movies, and I don't know, and all we say is, we're available! But, yeah, you know, I think keep it close to your heart and keep living the truth that the show has helped you find. And then I think that's the way it keeps living on.
Amazing. Yeah. I'd like to open it up to some fan questions now. So
sure.
What we might do is we might form a line.
Little kitties first, though. Is there any lady little ones first that wants questions? Please come to the front, okay? I'm not going to make the kids stand in line. That's okay, right, everyone? Great.
Now, of course, we can't talk about any future projects, anything that might be under contract, but yeah, we'll try to answer as much as we can.
We have a saying, Tabitha and I started, I think, at Everfree. Oh, look, a moose. We would say that. Do you know what a moose is? Google it if you don't. It's a large animal.
You'll have to change it to the Australian version.
Oh, look, a what? A wombat. Oh, look, a wombat. Drop bear, okay. Drop bear. Okay, look, a drop bear. So there you go. Drop bear. Oh, look, a drop bear. Oh, look, a drop bear. There you go. That's the equivalent of I can't talk about it. The lawyers will descend from the ceiling and take me.
Of course, if there are any kids with questions, please come to the front. We'd love to have you guys from you first.
Kids go first. Kids go first.
Come on up. Hi. How are you? What's your name?
Emily.
Hi, Emily. Where are you from? Are you from around here?
I live in a little town called Kraden.
Thank you for coming to see me. Do you have a question?
Yeah, what's your favorite thing about voicing Celestia?
My favorite thing about voicing Celestia is I can do it in my pajamas. I'm not gonna lie. I think my favorite thing about voicing Celestia is the fact that I just got to meet you. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. You would have told me I'd be in Australia and getting to see the smile on your face and your mom, that's your mom's face, and around. It's really awesome and humbly cool. 20% humbly cooler. How's that? Yeah. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Connor.
Hi, Connor. Just pull the mic towards you
Yep.
and lift up a bit. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Voice lesson 101. Go.
Okay, so I know you were already asked how you got into voice acting, but I was just wondering, do you have any tips for a voice actor who's trying to get into the game?
Yeah, I do. So a lot of people sometimes think this is instant coffee, right? I can't give you a pill and then you're all going to be amazing voice actors. Believe you me, if I could, I'd be living in Ibiza. I'd be living in my castle. So the tip for voice actors is to watch as much as you can, but remember you're an actor, so you need to get yourself to an acting class and start understanding how to use your vulnerability as strength and to share emotion and be storytellers. It's not just about a funny voice. This is 10% of your body, so what are you going to do with the other 90%, my friends, right? So it's a craft, it's a lifelong pursuit, and if you want to be doing it as long as I am, you got to start training and take it seriously. But don't quit your day job. You need to eat, you need a roof over your head.
Hi, I have two questions, but one.
Yeah, what's your name again? Sorry.
I'm Starry.
Yeah, Starry, hi.
My first one is really quick, and
Yeah.
I know that the fandom, you guys weren't allowed to watch any of the fandom's work and everything. Because the show is finishing, are you allowed to do that?
Well, truth be told, we all kind of sneak a little bit. It's more the people who are the writers and the executive producers, because then you guys could come along and say, that's my script in the show, and then they get sued, and so it just was a general, and we live in the land of lawyers, people, and accountants, right? So one of my favorite parts about coming to a convention is going to the vendor hall and seeing. That's actually one of my favorite parts of what the show's done, is inspired the creativity in so many people to draw, to sing, to dance, to make costumes, to express themselves. So I think the performers, we've always, we're aware of things and we get sent things. Yeah, and we do watch stuff. We have a little bit more leeway than the producers and the writers for sure. That's where the problem is.
My main question that I was actually coming up to ask was, I know that Celestia was always considered a bit of a prankster, a little bit of a troll.
Yeah.
And we've seen, apparently Twilight's a little bit more like that. How much did you have on that? Like, because we know that, for instance, Robin Williams, he ad-libbed most of Aladdin. Did you?
Yeah, I try ad-libbing as much as I can, and I get shut down every second. But I will say, I am in real life a bit of a trickster and a prankster. I like having a good laugh, and I like having fun because life's too short, quite frankly. And so it's why I was really excited in the last 3 or 4 seasons that we've got to see the other side of Celestia, and I've been begging for years. Like, there's more to her than this. There was one in season 3 or 4 where she's sleeping and she's woken up, and my take, I was like, and I kept doing every take, and they were like, Nicole? No. What do you mean? She just wanted to sleep. She's sleeping. And they're like, nice try. So, yeah. Hi, what's your name?
Evdol.
Hi there.
I was just wondering, earlier you said that when the show came out that it was aiming to be more progressive and more tolerant and that.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, have you seen, since the show's been out, cultural shifts in other shows and other things like that following in the footsteps?
I think we're all in the middle of a massive cultural shift, right? Like, in so many ways. We've got to all hang on and all be kinder to each other. That said, I still remember watching The Ellen Show and being one of the first lesbian kisses, right? And I don't know why that's such a big shock, because I have two boys who are 16 and 14, and they have friends who were girls who are now transitioning, and they don't bat an eye. They are they, and they are, as long as they are happy. And I think that's an amazing testament to the youth around us for their flexibility and their spirit of love. So I'd like to think, I'm not going to be so pompous to believe that we led the charge, but, and I still think right all the way to the end, we're living true to the spirit of being a vehicle of change. So yeah. At least I like to think so. Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Now, My Little Pony has got a big stance when it comes to music. So I would like to know, are you a musical fan? And if so, what's your favourite musical?
Oh my God, I love musicals. We were just in New York and we saw Pretty Woman the musical, and we saw Come From Away. Do you guys know about Come From Away? It's a Canadian musical, 9/11. 7,000 people were diverted to a little community in Newfoundland called Gander, and they took them in. There's only 7,000 people in the town, and and so the musical is in New York. If you have a chance to see it, please. Oh, has it? It is fantastic. I love music. I burst into song at the weirdest opportunities. Yeah, so I just love musicals, and it was really great. I'm an actor who sings, so I was trained, but I'm certainly not a. When I started early in my career, I auditioned for a show called Les Mis, and I had a couple of callbacks, but I was at the point where I had to learn to sing, on my own. They all sing through their nose, it sounds like. That's what the Cameron McIntosh way of singing. And then I got a TV gig, and I was like, TV, theater, TV, theater, food, stars. I always love musicals, and I love singing along, so yeah.
So what's your favourite musical?
My favorite? Come From Away. I think I was just a mess. It's just such a beautiful story about love and love conquering really horrible times, right? And acceptance of everyone and all. And so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Hi, what's your name?
This is Laura.
Hi.
So my question is, entertainers and creators, once we start to get to that point where we start to get noticed a little bit, I feel there comes a time when you really have that wow moment where you realize, hey, I'm really having a good impact on a lot of people's lives. Would you be willing to share one of your most memorable experiences of having that wow moment?
Sure. Yeah, and again, I was at my kids' elementary school. So there was a young boy that was a notorious bully. But he would be dropped off at the school at 7 a.m. because both his parents worked, and would be picked up at 5:30. And this kid was alone and sad, and he acted out. Yeah. And picked on my kids, always in the office. One day I was at school, I was volunteering, and the young lad came up to me and he went, Oliver, can I do a second? I was like, yeah. He went, I just want to tell you, you're Celestial, right? And I said, yeah. Well, I've been watching My Little Pony, and I understand now what I'm supposed to do, so I just want to say thank you. And I was completely blown away, 12-year-old boy, and you could see the difference in him. So, yeah, and we all have the power, one person at a time, to make change. I think that's what that lesson is about for me. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jemima. How are you? Good. What's your question?
So you say you've seen some fandom-made stuff. I was wondering what you think of some of the things that the fandom has done with your character.
Oh! Remember, I'm a mother of teenage children. I'm a mother. Look, I think my character is a great line. There's no wrong way to fantasize. But just because it's your cup of tea doesn't mean it's mine. And you don't need to throw your tea in my face either. That's kind of how I feel. So Hey, if whatever floats your boat, that's fine. Some things I'm not super comfortable with. I'm not a shy person, I'll let you know. You know, I think isn't everything, we have choice. You can watch, you can not watch. If you see something, say something. And I think I'll leave it at that, right? Yeah, does that work?
Yeah.
Why'd you ask that? Hi. Oh, good God, hi.
My name is Issa Chu, and I am learning how to do voices.
There you are.
Yeah.
That one's gonna shred your throat, be careful.
Okay. So one question I have, what's the hardest voice you ever done in your career?
Well, those ones that you're doing, what you're doing there is you're pulling your vocal flaps together and you're making them vibrate in a way that actually your body's not used to. So you want to be careful or you're going to make nodes and you're going to lose your voice. So I've done some monsters, like those kind of things, and in a 2-hour, 3-hour video game session. When you start tasting blood, that's when it's time to go home. That's my rule of thumb. Yeah. So those are the hardest ones, for sure. But then sometimes the hardest one is when you just have to be you. When you can't hide behind anything, you just have to be you. And I think in real life, that's also the hardest thing, but the most beautiful.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hi Nicole, by the way, thank you for turning on the sun today, we really appreciate it.
Welcome, you're welcome. My gift to you, maybe one.
Fantastic. So, lucky night here, and I was wondering, what does the relationship between Princess Celestia and Twilight Sparkle mean to you, and why?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. I've not been asked it. Well, I have sons, I don't have a daughter, and I have a couple of nieces that I spoil the pants off of. So, I think that would be, mother-daughter relationships are interesting. They're complicated and they're lovely at the same time. They exist on different levels at the same time. And so, but I think in general, it's like the parent-child relationship. Right now, my husband and I are here. Our 16-year-old is in another province with another family, swimming and having a great time. And our 14-year-old is hanging out with my brother, but about to take his very first flight across the country on his own to go see my mom, his grandma. And those are things that our kids are supposed to do, right? They're supposed to be independent, they're supposed to grow up, they're supposed to dream, they're supposed to achieve. And as parents, it's all we want until it happens. And then we're super proud, but it's like, no, you don't go right now, go tomorrow. And so I think that's the essence of the relationship. Very proud, but very sad. Like my 14-year-old, our 14-year-old is almost 6 feet tall. And when he hugs me, he bends his knees and puts his head here. And I do my best not to break into tears. I'm like, I'm fine. And it's, you know, it's that pull. All these cute little kids do grow up, and it's our job to try and make them nice adults. And when you see it happening, it's really lots of pride and really warm, but it's sad because they need you in a different way, but not in a way that's so tangible. So I think that's what that relationship is, right? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you, and shout out to mums everywhere.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and I've got 2 questions.
Sure.
One, what will be your view of Celestia's favourite moment in the show so far?
Oh, zipline. Are you kidding me? I fought hard for that. Oh my word.
I literally like that.
Oh, I loved it. Did we guys finally see her let loose? Are you kidding me? I just loved it. Yeah.
Second,
followed by the bad acting. That was fun.
Secondly, what do you think Celestia will do with herself after she gives all of her powers to Twilight?
Oh, she's not going to give all her powers to Twilight.
I think, in a role.
Well, I don't think, much like me, I don't think I'll ever retire. The joy in retirement is that you get to choose how busy you want to be. I don't know, maybe she'll start like a website and sell stuff on Etsy. I don't know. But I think she's never going to retire, but maybe she doesn't have to always be so busy. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think that's like all of us, not that I'm getting older, but let's say I was. To keep going at this pace, it's tiring, right? And you want to be able to enjoy as they say, the fruits of your labor, all your hard work. And that includes seeing your kids grow up and achieve things and make children of their own. And you know, you've worked so hard and you get to come to a different country on the other side of the world and hold a kangaroo and pet a koala and bucket list, bucket list, bucket list. and that's really great. That's great.
Well, parenthood's right at home for me personally, so.
Are you expecting?
Yeah.
Where's your partner? Where are you? Oh my gosh! Is this your second or your first? First? And do you know what you're having? Is it now? Is it now? Is it now? No. You walk around with, do I need to follow you with towels and you can do high walks? Sorry, don't mean to interrupt. Is it now? Okay. Congratulations. Hi, come on up. What's your name?
I'm Josh.
Hi, Josh.
I have 2 questions. First one, have you tried Vegemite?
I have a jar in my room. I have yet to do so. I've had Tim Tams. Okay. I can't do kangaroo people, I draw a line. And I am actually tasting a lot of your fine wine. You don't know, you're too young for that, but I'm doing it for everyone in the room.
And my second question is, who would be your favourite My Little Pony villain?
Oh, Discord? Right? Love him, and John's awesome. John Delancey is a great guy. Hi.
Hello.
What's your name?
Layla.
Hi, Lila. How are you? Layla or Lila?
Layla.
Hi, Layla.
What is your favourite Celestia line? What's that?
I like the... Yeah, probably... Zip Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Jai.
Hi, Jai. How are you?
Good.
Good.
My question is, what is your favourite thing about being in a classroom full of little kids, like being a teacher of cheerleading?
Oh, well, just being able to bend all those little minds to your will. I do teach in real life. I have taught. I have my master's, actually, and I always thought at some point my retirement swan song might be to have 25 cats, wear chunky jewelry, moo-moos, and travel the world and lecture. I don't know. Teaching is awesome. I think it's really great when you can positively influence another generation and maybe provoke people to think in different ways. So I think it's really cool. Yeah. Hi.
Hey there.
What's your name?
I've got no scene name of neutral, but name's Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
What would be your favourite episode?
My favorite episode?
Yeah.
That doesn't include me, or? I think I really love Celestia's ballad was very important when Twilight got her wings.
Which was mystical, magic.
Yeah, magical, mystical, tour. Mystical, magical, pure. But the thing was that a lot of people don't know, my husband's dad was passing away and was in hospital, and I had to go sing the song. And I left my husband, who's here, and our kids to wash Granddad's feet, and I went off to try and sing that song. And it was hard. But it was actually kind of perfect too, because in a way, I was giving my father-in-law permission to fly, right? Yeah.
Hi there. My name's Tristan.
Hi.
I was just curious, you mentioned you auditioned for pretty much like a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
How did your portrayal of them, I guess, differ from what we'd seen?
You know what? It's all pretty much in the ballpark. At that point, you know the qualities of the, you know that Rainbow Dash is spunky and tomboyish, and you knew that Applejack was from the farm and probably going to speak with a bit of an accent. And Fluttershy was quiet and loved animals. So, there are certain qualities, and we all kind of adopted it. And then it's really just you're given this voice, and then you can alter it only so much, right? Like, Some people have naturally higher tones, and so they're going to be more predisposed to do those. You think of them first for those type of characters. Other people's voices sit a little lower, so it's a little easier for them to go down to the big deep depths of things, right? You know. So yeah, I'd say we love just teasing each other in the room and doing each other's voices horribly. That's part of the fun part of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi. How are you?
Out of all of the characters that you voiced, there was one where your voice is permanently fixed to that character, which would you choose?
Where my naturally speaking voice?
Yeah, like if you could only speak in that character from now on, which character would you choose?
Well, if I was talking with my children, I want to be Dog Shank from Lego Ninjago. Kind of like Brianna Tarth on steroids. Acting for 16-year-old boys. I really like, actually, I'd like to be as chill as Tree Hugger, quite frankly. That would be a great way to go into retirement. But I like Celestia, so yeah, I think that'd be great. The Royal Canterlot voice cannot be a bad thing to have in this day and age. You're welcome. Back from outer space with another question, yeah.
So, when you were screaming zipline, it reminded me of this question because, you know, Celestia and Luna, they go to the musical.
Yeah. Oh.
Did that hurt you that Celestia did not enjoy it at all? Because it was wicked, and I mean, I freaked out when I saw it.
Did it hurt me? No, because it's just a show. But I love music. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't like chickens. I got to zip line. I got to sing a little bit. You know, kind of I'll take it. Yeah. Hi, come on up.
Hello there.
Hello.
Sorry. My name is Jarrod, and my question is very much integral with the show. Do you have a favorite episode where you are alongside with Tabitha, like so with Luna, basically? Favorite episode where you are.
Well, first of all, Tabitha St. Germain is an amazing human, and I adore her to pieces. And working with her is not work. It's so much fun. That said, I like the episode where Daybreaker showed up. That was we had a good time in the studio with that. Yeah, we got to fight and we were kind of across each other and throwing pens at each other, which was intense. And then she always brings like banana bread and cookies and cakes to every record. It's like trying to get us larger than we are. And so we're like, I hate you. We're out having tea and cake. Okay, Nicole, Tabitha, come back in. Okay.
Admittedly, that is perhaps one of my favorite episodes from season 7.
Yeah.
As far as it goes. Like, I love all the episodes, particularly with Celestia and Luna, but that is perhaps my favorite one too.
Yeah, it's great, right? Because they both had to look, they accepted each other at a different level. That was in front of them all along, right? Yeah, it's a good lesson.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi.
Not a big question. I just wanted to say thank you for what you've done over the past 10 years.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I wish you well on whatever you do in the future. But I
rule
really
the
got
world.
to warn you about the Vegemite.
Yeah.
All the foreigners come and they just take a big old scoop out. Don't do that.
I've been warned. No.
Okay.
No.
Must be on bread and like half butter, otherwise it will suck. Just...
Thank you. Good tip. I love it. Tips.
What was your most memorable Model Pony convention experience?
Oh, there's been a lot. There was a little girl dressed as Daring Do in Everfree one year, and she was so nervous to meet me, and I'm just like, it's just me. I fart. There's a secret tip for you all. We're human. And she was really nervous, and I just went and sat with her and held her hand, and I got a letter from her dad saying that she had some issues on the spectrum, and it was a big deal for her to step out and to be there and to be present. And anyway, she's doing great, and he said he thought my compassion helped a lot. I thought I was just being human, so that was pretty pretty cool.
Oh, quick
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Quick one. Why are you making me cry?
Am I making you cry?
Stop it. It's supposed to be. Oh.
Life's pretty good, guys. Cry, good tears. As long as they're good tears.
All right.
Good tears. Yeah. I love you too.
I think we've got time for maybe 2 more questions.
Sure. Yeah. Great.
Hi, I'm Autumn Breeze.
Hi, Autumn Breeze.
I was wondering, were you confused when Celestia was scared of chicken when she could literally just fry it with the sun?
Hey, I am petrified of snakes, and I can do a lot of things, but if even like a garter snake was to cross my path, I freeze and I lose my mind. That's putting it politely. So I get it. There's some things that are just like, you know, I guess that's enough to like terror in the heart. Did I think it was weird? Yes. Did I think it'd be great? Yes. Yeah. Weird's good. I like weird. Hi.
Hi, Nicole. My name is Joseph.
Yeah.
I'm the last question asker today. From your perspective, what was it like recording the last episode of the show?
We cried. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I just look around the room here. Every single one of us involved in the show truly is moved to pieces. Like, could never have thought something like this would be something we'd be fortunate enough to be a part of. And the fact that you all have been, I can't get my kids to sit still, you all have been sitting here listening to me. It's like, it's really humbling and moving and trippy, and but I don't think it's gone. You know, it's special. I don't know if you'll ever be able to do it again, right? And so, like I said, really, we're happy when we come do this and see everybody, and if it puts a smile on someone's face, then we've done a great job, and you know, we'll go off and do our next thing. But always remember where we've come from, right? You guys have been a big part of a lot of our paths. Yeah, and I thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you for everybody who asked a question. Nicole, Oliver, thank you so much for joining in this panel with us. For those of you who don't know, Nicole will be doing signings and photos outside in the lobby. So do, if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, feel free to ask it then. And yeah, thank you so much, Nicole, for joining in.
Thank you very much.